Today is March 20th, 2024. Today is March 20th. Today is March 20th, 2024. I've officially been in America 14 years. It's kind of crazy to think about that. I've spent more of my life in America here than I did in Africa. I came here when I was 10, and I definitely wouldn't trade my story for anybody else's in the entire universe. There's not a single story that I would trade it for. I love my story. When I was around 6 or 7, maybe 5, one of those three, 5, 6 or 7, I had a dream of me playing with a golden dog in a white background. This was a very, very vivid dream, a dream that still replays in my mind all the time, from time to time. I was playing with a golden dog in a white background, and we're just motions. And, I didn't really know what that meant, but it stuck with me. And fast forward, a couple years later, I get adopted to America, to Colorado. And I end up playing with a golden dog in a white background. After I got to America, maybe a year after, we got a dog, a golden retriever named Baddie. And I'm playing with Baddie in the snow. And I just had this moment of, why does this feel like it's already happened before? Like, why does it feel like I've already lived this memory? And it's crazy. Like, call it deja vu, I don't know how the heck, all of that happened. You want to call it the source. Some people call it God. I call it the source, and it's something that definitely makes me believe that there is a higher power, a higher existence, because, I'll tell you, I was scared when I was in Ghana. Subconsciously and consciously, I was scared because I didn't speak the tribal languages very well. Midway through my sentences, I'd be switching to English all the time. I remember one of my friends, when I was a kid, we'd be speaking in the tribal language and I switched to English mid-sentence and he goes, "Why do you keep doing that?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Why do you keep switching to English mid-sentence?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's just natural for me to speak English, And that's something that stuck with me because I just remember at 10 years old, man, you gotta be able to speak the tribal language, man, if not, it's not like you're going to get better over time because I just kept speaking English all the time. I just felt more comfortable speaking English. I didn't want to speak the tribal language, or it's not, I didn't want to. I just wasn't good at speaking it, and I just remember having this deep, underlying fear that I would never be good at speaking the tribal language. And, the source, says, "All right, I don't think this is going to be the spot for you, kid, but your foundation needs to be from here. You need to be built up from here so that when you come over to the other side, you'll be much more prepared for what's to come." So this is one of the things that makes me believe there is a God, but I don't like, God is the word that everybody uses it. I'll just call it the source, And, the source answers my prayer of, you got to help me out here. You got to do something. I need your help. And so I get adopted. A couple years later, I come to America, and I love my English classes. I love writing. I loved all my English classes, and I get to live an entirely new life, a brand new life, and it's something that I asked for. You want me to close the door? You got more? Gotcha. I don't know if, like, my story, I wouldn't trade my story for anybody else's. Because I'm living out a dream in a reality. Like, I remember when I was at the orphanage, watching people come to adopt kids, to get kids and take them, to wherever they wanted to go. And I remember having all these imaginations of what America could be like, what America would look like, what America, would be. And I wasn't one of those people that was thinking of, flying cars and stuff. But I just had this imagination of just lights everywhere and just cool stuff, That's how I pictured America. And I just desperately wanted to get adopted, I remember watching people come and, meeting the kids that they're going to adopt and taking them out to dinners and, giving them, a bunch of stuff and all of that. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta join this. I gotta join this. This is freaking amazing. Like, I'm seeing people come and go, and I'm just scared that I'm going to just be the one that gets stuck here, And I was like, damn, man. I hope I'm the next one, because I don't want to be stuck here. I don't speak the languages very well. I'm always speaking English. Like, I don't want to be stuck here. And then, Tim comes first. That's my adopted father. And I just remember, just seeing him. He was wearing a green shirt and these khaki shorts and these, like, hiking boots. If you're from Colorado, some people who really like hike mountains and shit, everybody's got the similar ass boots. You go backpacking, the type of boots I'm talking about. Everybody's got them shits. And I just remember seeing him, and going, dang, what's up, man? He's hairy, I'm not a very hairy person. And I just remember being a little kid and being so curious and, like, playing with his hair and going, damn, man, you hairy as hell. And he was really cool, really patient, pretty dang laid back. He came, with Bill, and Thomas came with them. And that's Bill's son, Bill and Kara ended up adopting a kid as well. And Kara had actually come before Bill and Tim, but that's a whole different thing. And I just remember just thinking to myself, like, damn, man, I guess I'm really going to get adopted, And then Tim and Thomas and Bill leave, Bill was sweating all the time. He wasn't used to that type of heat, that type of humidity. I remember him. He was sweating all the time. And then Raelynn comes, and she came, she's just asking mad questions, just asking questions and questions and questions. And I was like, man, this girl asks mad questions, fam. Why is she always asking questions? But she was curious, I don't know if she had ever been to Africa before. But she was just always asking mad questions about every operation that was going on at the orphanage. And I was like, fam, I don't think this is the place to be asking all these questions because we're going to have to deal with the questions you asking about. And I can't go too much into detail, but that's just how it was. Don't come around here asking all these goddamn questions, girl. Damn. You know? But she was cool, you know? I grew attached to her pretty quickly. And I just like spend time in her room. I'd go sleep in her room when she wasn't there because like, you know, I just grown very attached to this lady. And I just remember like, I felt pretty comfortable with her and just thinking to myself like, damn, you know, like she's going to be my mom now, I guess, like, you know. And I was like always just wanting to be around her and I wanted to go wherever she was. And then, you know, she like left for like 2 weeks and I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I thought she just abandoned us because they didn't tell us what the hell was going on. They didn't tell us what the heck was happening. You know, Raelynn and Cara came together and I was just like, so you just pulled up and then dipped off the scene without ever telling us what was going on, you know, but there was bullshit happening at the orphanage, you know, and they had to take care of stuff and they couldn't tell us because then the information would probably get forced out of us. I'm assuming why they wouldn't tell us anything. And I just remember like, I'd just go and cry in her bed to sleep because I was like, this lady pulled up. I got really close with her and then she fucking dipped off the scene on me. You know, that's really how it felt. Now, I didn't understand what was going on. So from my reality, just from my lens, my eyes, I thought she just freaking dipped, you know? And then, you know, I think they sent a taxi for us and stuff. And we grabbed our stuff and they were like, we're going to go meet, you guys are going to go meet Cara and Raelynn here. And then that was the last time I saw the orphanage, you know? I said peace out to the homies. Me and Eben got in the taxi and we went up to Accra, the capital of Ghana. And, you know, we're working on our passports. I remember going to take our passport pictures. And I wore this pink shirt when we took our passport pictures. That doesn't really matter, but if you're watching this, I'm just ranting. I'm not really ranting. I'm just chatting about the story. It's really for my kids if they ever want to watch this, but you know, and I remember looking up at the sky and I saw a plane and I thought to myself, I was like, I'm going to be on that plane one day. I'm going to be on the plane one day. You know, and I didn't really understand. I thought I was getting adopted, but I just looked at the plane and said, I'm going to be on one of those one day, you know? And it felt pretty audacious to say that in my head, like, you know, not really knowing if it was a certainty or not. And I'm just like, I'm going to be on a plane one day, you know? And then, fast forward, you know, we have a little bit of an issue with our passport process. And I remember Raelynn and I are sitting on this wall and she's bawling her eyes out, you know, cause she's like, fam, I've been away from my kids way too long, you know, like I can see the frustration of a woman who's like doing whatever she can, but she ain't never been to Ghana before. You know, life is different over here, you know, and she's crying and I can just see, you know, like your mother worrying about herself and being in a new environment. You know, her kids are back home and all of this. And I'm going to be honest, you know, I had really grown close with her and Eben was just back at the hotel chilling, you know, and it's just me and her. And I'm looking at her like, dang, you're crying, but we got to get through this, you know, we got to get through this. Like I have a habit of like, when it's crisis mode is when I snap out of it and I go, let's deal with the crisis. I'll cry about it later. And then I cry about a lot of little dumb shit. But then in crisis mode, I just snap out of it. Like I go, no, we need to deal with this. I'll cry later, you know? And I just remember like, that was one of the moments where I really felt like like really wanting to deepen my connection with her, or going, okay, we're gonna be okay. Like when she was crying, like we're sitting against this wall, I'm looking at her and, I see her worrying, but I don't know how to worry with her, because to be honest, I knew the shiesty shit that was going on for us to get our passport, because like, the guy who was running the orphanage was on bullshit, and there's hiccups, and we're trying to get out of here. I'm trying to get the fuck up out of here, and we're so close. We're at like 80%. The passport gets us out of here, And, Raylan's crying because she's like, what do we do? What do I do? Like, I want to get these kids out of here, but shit, I got kids back at home too. So what do I do? And, thank goodness magic happened, connections, people make things happen for us, and we're able to get our passports. And we're going to the airport, and that's my first time ever at an airport. And I was like, damn, man, I'm really about to go to America. For real. I'm about to go to freaking America. And I'm hype. I'm psyched. And I remember we get on the plane, and Evan's worried, Evan's freaking out. He's like, fam, like, we on a plane. I ain't never been on one of these bitches. You know what I'm saying? And me, I was like, let's get up out of here. Let's get out of here, bro. Like, I'm ready to go, And I remember the flight attendant was a beautiful blonde lady. She was fine. And when she heard that we was getting adopted, she was like, whatever you need, let me know. I'll bring it to you. I'm getting all the snacks. Give me all of that. I need all of it. I'm eating good the whole time. I said, this is what America's going to be like? I said, count me in. I'm in this joint, And then we land in New York. This long plane ride. We land in New York, and we getting some food to eat. And my first meal, I think, was a hamburger. When I tell you I was disappointed, I was like, this is what American food is? My first like American meal was a hamburger. And I was like, this ain't the vibes, man. Now, keep in mind, this is all happening in my head. I still ate the burger, but I'm keeping it a buck. I said, I know this ain't what America got for us. I just came from Ghana. I'm eating fried rice. I'm eating tilapia. I'm eating okra stew. I'm eating banku. I'm eating jollof rice. You know what I mean? I'm eating all the good shit. We landed in America, and I ate a burger, and I said, I wasn't going to complain out loud, but I was like, fam, this ain't the vibes. This is not what I thought American food was going to be. It's a burger, bro. Like, but it was lit. We finally touched down in New York. We eat, and we were supposed to just fly from New York to home, I thought, but we end up staying in New York for a night. And in our hotel, we're going to the hotel, and I just remember it's late, and there are so many cars in New York at that late of nighttime. I was like, what the heck? Why are there so many people still out at this hour? Now, honestly, I'd never really seen the city during the night. I lived in a village. Like, I didn't go to the city at nighttime, so I didn't know. Shoot, maybe it was like that in Ghana, but this is New York City. It's different, And I remember we're in our hotel, and I'm looking through the screen glass, and I was like, damn. And Raelynn goes, this is the city that never sleeps. And I'm just like this, looking at the window glass. Me and Eben are looking at the window, and there are just so many cars going by and by and by and by and by. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really America. This is insane, but this is cool. This is cool. I was excited. I felt initiated into America now. I was like, word, start this motherfucking story. Let's lit. We live in this joint, And then we fly. It was nice in New York. Then we fly to Colorado. We land in Colorado, fam. It's a blizzard in this bitch. We land in Colorado. I'm in my Michael Lessian jersey. I still have it. Maybe I'll bring it out. I'm wearing my Michael Lessian jersey. I didn't bring no jackets. And it's a mother effing blizzard in Colorado, fam. I just came from 95 degrees, and within a span of 24 hours, it's a blizzard out here. Like, what's going on, bro? You know, and I remember I'm sitting in the middle seat. You know, I meet my siblings, and, you know, we drive to Monument, and Eben thought it was funny to go freaking run around in the snow with his socks on. And, you know, he felt that one. You know, that wasn't a smart decision. And then, you know what I think he did? He ran, put hot water on. Anybody who knows when your feet or hands is really cold, you do not go to the other side of extreme temperature. You know, so then his feet are burning. But, you know, that was how we got to America. And, you know, things are chill. You know, we learned to snowboard. And, well, I learned to snowboard. Eben wanted to ski. And the reason I decided to snowboard was because Raelynn. You know, Raelynn was the only snowboarder in the family. Everybody else skied. So I decided I wanted to snowboard because I was like, well, you know, like I said, I spent so much time with her in Ghana that I was like, well, I don't want her to be the only snowboarder. So I'm going to freaking snowboard. So that's why I decided to snowboard. And ever since, I've just loved being on boards. You know, longboards, skateboards, soon to add surfboard. You know, one day I'm going to get really good at surfing one day. And so, yeah, I decided to snowboard. And, you know, I remember we went to Keystone. That's where I learned. It was Keystone Resort. And I think I had like 2 days of learning before it was, bro, like, we do this shit for real in our family, so you gotta catch up. Like, we ain't gonna spend time on the bunny hill with you the whole time. You know? I think I may have spent half the day on the bunny hill, and then it was, you know, we gotta get out on the mountain, bro. Like, we don't do bunny hills here. You know, like, we're mountain sport athletes for real. And so, I just remember, like, having a haul ass to keep up with everybody, because everybody was really freaking good, you know. And Eben went off with the skiers, so it was just me and Raelynn on the bunny hill, and I'm learning everything. And then we did night skiing too, which really helped my progression, because I spend like weekends we do like, you know, the whole day skiing and night skiing too. And I remember, you know, just hauling ass. By like day 3, I was like, okay, I can really do this, you know. And so, you know, getting to snowboard was amazing. Like as being adopted is, you know, aside from me, you know, being born into this world, being adopted is the second greatest thing that's ever happened in my life. You know, the source giving me life, my parents, you know, Mercy and Maxwell giving me life is the greatest thing, because if I'm not born, I don't even get to experience what it's like to get adopted, what it's like to go snowboarding, you know? And, yeah, you know, so snowboarding was fun. Getting to experience winter sports was amazing, you know. And in the summertime, like, we would go, you know, bike riding all the time. You know, when they asked us what we wanted to be as kids, you know, my first thing was I wanted to be a professional mountain biker. That was like the first profession I ever wanted to do, was mountain bike. I loved mountain biking, you know. You know, we used to bike from Monument to Goosasage Park and back. You know, that's in the Springs. And that was like our Sunday activities from time, like, it felt like it was pretty often, but, or we would go to Spruce Mountain and we'd bike up the mountain, you know. And so I just grew up biking all the time. And you know, I was in Boy Scouts too, and we did a biking trip to Moab, and we literally did 100 miles or 100 plus miles in 3 days. You know, it was just biking all day. Then we grub at nighttime. Then we bike all day. Then we grub at nighttime. Bike all day, grubbing at nighttime. You know? And so, like, as I'm looking back at it, you know, I've gotten to experience so much life, you know, and in different phases, and just cool stuff, not just living mundane stuff, you know. And, you know, as my anger towards, you know, Tim and Raelynn goes away, you know, as my anger in general towards, like, things that I couldn't control, you know, and just appreciating the good things and focusing on the good things instead of what I didn't have, you know, I got to experience so much of what I like to do. The reason I feel so adventurous and love to do things is because it was implemented into me from an early age, right? From the age where it is impressionable, right? Because, you know, at 7, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's cool, you know, but like 9, 10 is when you start to have real fascinations, you know, at least for me. And so I was in Boy Scouts growing up, you know, I grew up Mormon. So, you know, I went to church all the time, you know, Sunday, the first Sunday of each month, or it's the first Sunday or the last Sunday of each month was, you know, you did a fast and then you ate at night, you know. And, you know, Boy Scouts taught me camping, self-sufficiency, learning to tie ropes, you know, and just going out and about, you know, that's what Boy Scouts is basically about. And so, you know, we used to go on all these cool scouting, camping trips. You know, one was to Bear Lake, in Utah. I think it's Bear Lake, you know, and looking at all the fresh raspberries that grew there and meeting up with all these other scouts. And then, you know, the only thing I needed to do was my Eagle Scout project, and I would be an Eagle Scout, you know, but the timing didn't work out because, you know, the divorce was happening and, you know, I wasn't really, you know, bold enough to ask for help on my Eagle Scout project, but I had all my badges, you know, and all I needed to do was my Eagle Scout project, and I would be an Eagle Scout. But, you know, I used to feel like super frustrated, you know, about the things that happened, you know, once I got here, and, you know, my frustration with Raelynn, and, you know, I don't, like, in retrospect, looking at it, I don't know if I was hard on her or not, because I felt like I was a pretty easy kid, you know, and, you know, I felt like as a parent, like, maybe she just didn't know how to handle me, but there was no handling me. I was just, you know, don't get at me mentally all the time, you know? And please understand, whoever watches this, like, parents make mistakes, you know? I understand that more now. You know, parents make mistakes, you know, and one of the most crushing things when you get older is like when you have that moment where you go, shit, parents are still just kids figuring it out. Even at 90 years old, you're still a kid. You're a kid of someone else's, you know, and there is never just, I don't know if there's a single adult who can say that they had it all figured out, you know, and learning to forgive, you know, and forgiveness comes in waves, you know, because one day you think you've forgiven all of it, and then you may have only gotten to 70%. And then you may forgive another month goes by, you may forgive. And maybe it's another year, and it may take you 10 years to forgive completely. Maybe you never do, you know, but, you know, Raelynn, you know, for a long time, I had visceral animosity for this woman who adopted me, you know, and, you know, I've had someone tell me, you need to be grateful that they even got your ass, you know, and for me, that's what drove me fucking batshit, because I loved this woman, you know, I truly did. And, you know, like, as I was getting older, I was getting fucking pissed at myself. I was pissed off at the fucking source for giving me 3 sets of parents. You know? That's really, like, you know, when I moved down, I'm tripping shrooms all the fucking time. It's because I was like, fam, there's so many different connections. Like, how the fuck do I prioritize, or, you know, some people, like, if you grow up in a 2-parent household and that's all you know, you don't really have to worry about, like, connecting with others. You know, you connect with your core. Me, Eben, you know, Eben, I don't know what Eben goes through. I don't speak to him. That's my adopted brother. You know, he's much more forgiving than I am. I tell you that. And I felt like I was a very forgiving kid growing up. You know, but he's just a man. You know, he's more, when you think of an African man, a gentle African man, think Eben. That's my adopted brother. You know, he's real tribal for real. He would probably be a leader, a chief leader somewhere back home. You know, when I used to talk to him, he'd just be like, Joshua, you need to forgive Joshua. You know, she's going through things, you know, you need to forgive, you know. And me, I'm like, fuck that. Right? Like, I just had this, like, furious anger at her because at Raelynn, my adopted mom, because I was like, fam, I loved you. Like, I connected with you instantly. And then, you know, I think it took me a long time to be totally upfront about the fact that I felt abandoned when she left for 2 weeks with Kara and they went to go take care of, you know, paperwork and shit, and they didn't tell us that they were dipping. And I was fucking terrified that she was just leaving me here and wasn't gonna fucking tell us that, hey, I have to go take care of shit and I'll come back for you. Like, that really cut me deep because I remember it was raining one time. It was raining and me and Eben are just talking. And I told Eben, I was like, bro, she left us. I don't know why you keep telling me that she's going to come back for us. She's not coming back for us, fam. She left. She dipped. Have you heard from her? It's been a week, bro. She's not coming back for us, bro. You know, and Eben was so hopeful, you know, and I wanted to be hopeful, but I was like, it's been a week. I haven't heard from this woman. You know, I'd go sleep in her room with her, like, you know, to go from that. And then it's just like, bam. You know, and then like watching her cry made me like really protective over her, you know, because I knew she had her own biological kids, you know, and then she comes for us too, you know, she comes to get us, you know, and then like the memories of, you know, snow days and it's cinnamon rolls and a smoothie and OJ, you know, that's how what snow days was for us. That's why I love freaking making cinnamon rolls so much. You know, that's like the number one thing I have attached to snow days was always, whenever it was snowing, we got cinnamon rolls. You know, it was, what do you guys want? And it's cinnamon rolls, bro. I'm not asking again. When I pull up downstairs, I need to see them cinnamon rolls on site. You know, that's why I've always loved making cinnamon rolls since I was a little kid, you know, and why I loved being in the kitchen. Well, that's because I've always loved cooking since I was back in Africa too. But, you know, there are moments in time that will deepen your connection with someone. And, you know, I was just so hurt by the treatment of my adopted mother because I felt like this woman was just taking the easy way out by being frustrated with me and not really like seeing what she was doing to me and Eben too. And this may sound so out of pocket that I'm even saying this. Maybe I'll cut this part out. I don't know. But, you know, I felt like there was a difference in treatment by the way she treated me and Eben and the way she treated her biological kids. I felt like there was a difference. And please keep in mind, I do not hate her anymore. I don't. If it wasn't for her efforts, I don't end up here. Her and Raelynn and Tim are the reason I'm sitting here making this video. Well, it took a lot of people. And I don't know if it's out of pocket to say that, but it's the fact. I could try and slice it up each way. It doesn't matter. Like, I felt like the way she treated me and Evan was completely different from times. The way she treated her biological kids. Especially when she would just, berate me in front of everybody. And then her kids get talked to in private. And that's why, I don't know. I struggled with her, like, as the time started to go on, year 2 and 3 and 4. When we moved to Utah, I just, like, stopped talking to her. I stopped sharing things with her about my life, because I was just so tired of being beaten down. I was so tired of being beaten down by this woman, who was also going through it herself in private. So I get that too. Divorce is not easy. It's not easy on anybody. And I don't know what, there's what she said and there's what she said, what he said, and there's the truth. And I don't really know. I don't really care to find out anymore. Cause I've heard from both sides. One person says the extreme one thing, and the other person saying the complete opposite. And the truth is just, who knows? We'll never find out. Shit. And one of them is telling the truth. One of them is, because they're telling completely different stories. Right? And I'm not bullshitting about this. Like, I've got more love for my adopted parents now. I don't speak to them, but I love them both dearly, It's a different kind of love for them. Especially with my adopted father, That motherfucker, man. I love him. But I can't stand his ass. I think it's probably because him and I are so similar, The reason I'm so giving, I love to give. I love to give. Like, if there's one thing about me that I love, it's that I love to give. I love giving people stuff. Because I watched him give so much. Now he when he wants his too, But I just remember he was always so giving, And I have these memories where in the wintertime when it was snowing, and we just drive around in Brutus. That was my truck. We just drive around in the truck and just go look for people to pull out of the snow. One time somebody got stuck in front of our house, and he got all the boys. He said, "Get your asses up. We're going to go get this car out of the snow." Now I don't know if that's because of his military background, And one of the things that, like, it just made me ease up on him was he always came to my defense when I was a little kid, Like, he would always come to my defense and say, "He's only been here for a couple years. You need to ease up, Raelynn. You need to ease up, He's only been here a few years. You need to ease up. You're being way too hard on the kid, Like, at school, whenever the word incident still triggers me till this day. I can't stand the word incident. Well, maybe not so much now, but when a teacher send an email, "Joshua had another incident," and it's because I'm playing too hard at recess. Like, come on, bro. You chatting bullshit, bro. Like, what you mean? We're playing fucking lacrosse. One time I felt really bad. This kid, Andrew Manning, I checked his ass really hard in the back. I felt so bad. But we would play lacrosse, bro. We try to get it up. We try to get these dubs. You know what I mean? If we step on the court, it's up for you, We step on the field. And, the teachers would write emails to Raelynn talking about Joshua had another incident. And I'd just be terrified to go home. I was fucking scared to go home. Like, going home was just a bitch. Cause I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble again when I go home. And I'm not trying to hear all that because I'm playing hard at school or some shit. It wasn't like I was fighting kids, But like, you know, it took me some time to adjust to America, man. You know? And freaking kids like trying to play with your hair because they've never seen nothing like it. Now, please keep in mind, I grew up in Monument. Okay? If you know, Monument don't got a whole lot of people like me. You know, I'm pure chocolate, baby. You know what I'm saying? There was RJ and Chase. I think there was the three of us. RJ, Chase, and me, and my brother Evan. And Hope. So there's 5 kids in Monument that I knew of that went to Prairie Winds. You know, it was like, fam, like, you don't see a whole lot of chocolate around here, you know? And I remember, I can't name her, but this girl kept trying to grab my hair and shit, and I was looking at her like, what you doing? You know, why you keep grabbing my shit? Why you keep grabbing my hair? She's never seen nothing like this. Maybe not even on TV, fam. You know? So it took some time for me to adjust to being in America. But yeah, my adopted dad and I, you know, we beef a lot, and I don't speak to the motherfucker anymore, but, you know, my first, you know, the reason why my idea of success, the basis of it comes from my adopted dad, Tim. Because, you know, when I got to America, my life went from me just roaming the streets of Ghana because my biological mom had to work. She had to work. My sister Patience, 7 years older than me, she's out the house. I was roaming out and about. Like, I used to jump on the back of the bus to get from one side of town to the other. And I'm like 6 years old, 5, 6, and 7 years old. This is before I went to the orphanage. You know, so what we used to do in Ghana is you jump on the back of the bus and you literally like got to keep your head down so that the bus driver doesn't see you. Cause if they see you, they slam on the brakes. I don't know if the buses here are like that, but back in the day, the buses had a ladder on the back and you could jump on it, and we made games out of it to see who would get bucked off, you know? So my life went from roaming around to now I live in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I live in a 6-bedroom house with 2-3 football fields could fit on this fucking, on the backyard and shit. That's not a fucking lie. You know, a 6-bedroom house that could fit 3 football fields with a 6-car garage. That's how quickly my life flipped. And now I ski every weekend. You know, I'm now playing soccer. I'm going to wrestling practice. I'm going to football practice. I'm biking all the time. I'm in Boy Scouts and I'm doing dope shit. You know, this is why, like, my ego, I struggle with God. I struggle with the source because I always had this, why me? Especially as I got older, at least when I was starting to fuck up, when I was by myself. I was like, why me? You know, but also I think it's because I was fucking up, so I was like, maybe I didn't deserve to come here. But Tim made sure, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he did a great job of setting all of us up with adventurous minds. You know, because this man, all I knew about Tim as a kid was he just was working, going to different states. When he came back home, we were barbecuing on Sundays and we were biking or doing cool shit. You know, I didn't know what he did for work, but I knew he was really fucking smart and he worked for Cisco, not the food company. You know, the technology company. So that's really all I knew about him. And he just had this thing for wanting to go to all 50 states. And so, like, I just remember just always being like, dang, I want to be like that too one day. I want to come home and take my kids and do cool shit. because that's what I saw. And I thought it was dope as hell. We're rollerblading on the long ass driveway in the summertime. We're doing snowball fights with the neighbors. We got a beautiful house, a quiet neighborhood, safe neighborhood. We're biking everywhere. We biked to school most days. Unless it was snowing, we were biking to school. And so I feel like I was a little easier on Tim, but also because he came to my defense so much. Him and our relationship soured once we moved to Denver. And honestly, that's because I felt like, our relationship became secondary, but there was a lot of shit leading up to it. And, you could say I'm going through my teenage years and I wasn't helping because I wasn't doing well in school, but, I was trying to ask for help. I wasn't getting help. And I'm getting frustrated. My frustrations are boiling over. And our relationship just soured. But I'll forever be indebted to him for, spending all that guap. Word on the street was it cost a lot of bread to bring us here. That's just word on the street. I don't really know the exact number, but shit. Cost a lot of fucking money. I think. And then, with Lynn and Nick, they were, as soon as I felt like, I was down and out coming out of high school, they stepped right up. They stepped in. And, I always have this thing where I question why sometimes people do good things for other people when they don't have to. Like, because I remember when I met, when I met Dylan, it was football practice. Dylan is Nick and Lynn's son. He's really like my brother for real. When I met Dylan, big ass, shaggy ass hair, we're getting ready to practice and he's running onto the field and I go up to him and was like, "What's up, bro? I'm Josh, man. Nice to meet you." And Ellie is Nick and Lynn's daughter. Ellie and I had classes together, I think, because we were in the same grade. And I remember she was like, she wore these like black pants. I have this thing with like outfits and people. And she was like, I remember when I met her, she had braces, I think, and she had these black Vans on and black jeans and like this like shirt that was like, had a bunch of patterns on it. And I had met Ellie, yeah. I think I met Ellie first because we had school. And then I met Dylan after that at football practice. And we all kicked it off, we kicked it off and we just became super cool. And, that was when I was 11 or 12. And we just got super close and we would all hang out. And, I don't think I could have asked for a better set of people to like be. This is where I say the source puts in fail-safe devices or plot armor because they were just so good to me, like I felt really like comfortable around them way more than I ever felt with like any other people growing up, especially when we were kids. I just remember like when we'd be playing on the backyard on the trampoline with Olivia Heiser. She'd come over And we'd be like, I remember specifically like the four of us being in the backyard playing on the trampoline and just chilling. And then like Lynn made us some food, and then we all went inside and just munched, and then I'd go on family vacations with them. We went to Minnesota. Ellie made me a book, made me 2 books with like a bunch of pictures in it. And then like I had to move. I got the first one after the Minnesota trip. The second one, I think when I was going to Utah, because I was moving. Is that the fan? Yeah. Would you be able to turn it off? Okay. And, yeah. Like Ellie, Dylan, and I like used to be super, super, super close. And, I think they were like the siblings that I really wanted. If I'm being honest. They were the siblings that I really wanted. Because I just didn't really connect with my adopted siblings. Like, I really didn't connect with them. And, I connected with Ellie and Dylan, like, so quickly. And we would all just, like, joke around and just hang out. And Dylan and I played football together on the same team. And Ellie and I had classes together, and we were in the same grade. So, like, I was around them pretty often. And then a lot of the times I preferred to go to their house. I prefer to go to their house over, like, staying at my own place. Cause I felt so much safer there mentally. And so, I moved to Utah. I meet a bunch of new people, made a lot of new friends. And, the reason I left Utah is cause just some bullshit, man. But I left Utah, came back to Colorado, went to Palmer Ridge my freshman year, and then I moved to Denver, in high school, graduated, and, like I said, when I needed some help, Nick and Lynn stepped up and they took me in. And I finally like got to see what it was like to operate as a family unit. Well, in a different way. Because like the first couple years that I was before my adopted parents got separated, it was still a family unit, cause we were doing shit all the time. We were moving, and so I would say it was just a different experience. It was a different experience but we were also all older, so I guess that also factors in cause, the family dinners and Lynn's making 2 separate dinners for, all of, for us cause, she doesn't eat, meat. She's pescatarian, and maybe Ellie will eat the same thing as her. And then me, Nick, and Dylan will eat the same thing cause we eat meat, and watching Lynn, get home from work, get in the kitchen, whip that shit up, busting it down. The food was fire, straight heat, and then we all get done with work and then we all want to eat together, and it was fucking dope, man. It was fucking dope, and, there were times where I honestly just didn't know how to, receive that. I didn't know how to, take it, cause I was just like, I don't really know how to, operate in this environment, and deep down I felt awkward from time to time. Maybe more than I'd like to admit. because I was just like, shit, man. You know, when I moved to Utah, like, I wasn't really happy in the house. That's why I was always spending time at my friend Ashton's house. I wasn't really happy at my house in Utah. You know, I didn't feel safe mentally. So I'd always go to Ashton's house. You know, and then when I came back to Colorado, it was just me and my dad and Eben. And then once Eben graduated and we moved to Denver, it was just me and my dad. And then when he got, you know, a lady in his life, I was just like, bro, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of dealing with women hurting me and shit. Motherly figures hurting me, bro. I'm tired of it. You know? So I felt bad for, you know, Tim's new wife, because I just wasn't really showing her much of, it wasn't I was being disrespectful, but I was kind of dismissive. I was pretty dismissive of her because I just was like, bro, I don't really want to build a relationship with you. You know? The last woman I tried this with beat me down mentally. So I don't really want to do this with you. You know, and I was like, you got a relationship with Tim, not me, which is cold, you know, cause this woman tried, you know, she tried really hard, you know, and I was just pretty distant, you know, she baked fire ass cookies. She should have opened up her own bakery shop, cause she knows how to whip up some motherfucking cookies, you know. And, you know, Lynn had always just been there, you know, like, but I wasn't her obligation. So there's also a difference in that. And, you know, like when I moved in with them, with the Matazes, they're not Matazes anymore. When I moved in, you know, with Nick and Lynn and Dylan and Ellie, like I was happy, you know, I was happy, and like, I was a little overwhelmed too with trying to understand what it meant to be a family. You know, because the time that I first got here and spent trying to adjust, I didn't understand what it meant to be a family, at least over here in America. In Ghana, it was just, I'm a kid, you know, I just expect my mom to just, you know, to do what she gotta do. And I'm expecting myself to survive. You know, I felt like I was a man at 5'6", cause you know, I wasn't getting supervised. I was just roaming out and about. And then when I went to school, I was like, what the fuck? Why do I feel so constricted? You know, I was like, I got put into like, I think it was a private school in Ghana before I went to the orphanage. And I was like, why the hell am I here? You know, I want to be out here. I want to be, you know, in these streets, you know. But yeah, you can't be in the streets, Josh. Get your ass to school. And yeah, you know, to finally see myself like wanting to come home and eat dinner, you know, it was bad timing for when I started smoking weed, because I didn't start smoking weed till my senior year, second semester of my senior year. That's when I was blazing, smoking that shit, you know. And Lynn's like, bro, you can't smoke, you know, you can't be smoking. It's not good for you. You need to stop smoking. And I try to listen, but also, fuck, dude, like you caught me at a bad time. I just got started smoking, you know. And, you know, I go to Minnesota. I remember like Lynn, like just rapping off mad information when I was getting ready to sign up for the school when I was going to Minnesota. And she's like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. And you know, Lynn be rapping sometimes. I don't think she realizes when she starts talking sometimes, she's just rapping off words, you know? And Nick goes, Lynn, you gotta chill. You gotta chill. Like, you just blasted so much information at him, you know? And to be frank, it's cause I've never had anybody like sit me down and take me through any of this shit. You know, I didn't even look for schools to go to college when I was when senior year and shit. Cause I didn't think I was gonna go. You know, so I didn't think, like, there was no need, like, and my adopted dad and we lived in the same house and didn't speak for like 3-4 months. You know, I come home, go straight to the basement, and I really mean it when I say 3 to 4 months, we didn't say a word. I didn't want to say anything to him, you know. And I'm like getting ready to go to Minnesota, and, you know, going to college was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this, you know. And, you know, I was like, damn, like, I was about to cry because I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, you know, and I'm kind of nervous because I'm like, I have so much to do. How am I going to get all this done? You know, but like, you know, Ellie and Dylan have had that guidance of, you know, having people be there and sit them down or tell them, you need to do this, you know. Even if like even if they didn't like want to do it, they had people there to like at least make it aware for them. Hey, you got to get this done. This also needs to get done. You need to apply for this. You need to do this. You need to do that. I didn't have any of that. I was just like, I'm just trying to get through high school, bro. I'm just trying to get through fucking high school. Like, fuck. I don't know what I'm gonna do after this, fam. Like, I don't want to talk about where I was at mentally, but it wasn't good. You know, I was down and out. Like, I don't know what you're talking about with college, you know? And so, to see her go, you gotta get all this done, you need to do this, this, and that, this, and that, this, and that, this, and that. And I'm like, I remember like, I'm starting to get a little choked up because I'm like, okay, I get it, but you won't stop talking. I get it. I may cry. You gotta stop talking. And Nick finally goes, all right. You gotta chill. You need to stop. Like, that's enough information for one night, you know? And then Lynn goes, well, but he needs to make sure he gets all this done. And I'm just like, I get it. I understand, you know? Oh man. Like I said, I wouldn't trade my story for anybody's, you know. And, you know, I go to Minnesota, I come back, you know, then I get a job at Fuzzy's, and then I start, you know, I was working at Fuzzy's for a little bit, and then I end up going to the Apple store and getting asking about a job interview. They said they were hiring, then I get a job at Apple. And then I'm working at Apple while I got an internship at Sanity Solutions, you know, and a lot of these things are kind of like, they seem like, you know, they just sort of happened. But when I went to the Apple store, it's because I went in to ask if they were interviewing. And then with my cousin, like with the Sanity Solutions internship at first, I just went in to see my cousin to just say what's up, you know. And then he told me, you know, when you come in, dress nice, make sure you look good, you know. And then Matt introduces me to Sheila, and Sheila was like, what you doing? You know, I told him I'm going to school for business and business and communications or whatever. And, you know, she offered me an internship. So then, you know, I was like, I need to jump on that immediately. Sometimes I know when I see a good opportunity. I jumped on that. I go home, I do like a resume, you know, put it together, send it to her. So then I start interning at Sanity Solutions while I'm working at Apple, and then I'm going to school. And then that was when I started doing my cooking show. Or I think I had started just a little before. And, I literally, that's when I started doing my cooking show. And that's when I was just making cooking videos all the time, you know. There was no time for no BS. I'd go to school, I'd go to work, then I'd come home, cooking show. Then I'd go to the internship, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'd go to my internship, then I'd come home, cooking show, me and Jake do a cooking video, then we smoke up, and it's bedtime, you know? And we just had a routine, you know? We were in the zone with it. And so, I've seen myself when I'm super, super focused. And that's when I call it the compounding effects, building momentum in life, because I wasn't really looking to hang out because I'm working, I'm going to school. I've got an internship. I've got a life basically that I'm loving to do. I love doing every single thing that I am doing. With school, I struggled sometime because what happens when I got the internship at Sanity Solutions, I remember sitting in the back of class and just thinking, God damn, I gotta pay money for this when I'm getting taught everything about business at my job. I'm getting a degree. I'm trying to get a degree for business and communications. And for my job, what I literally do is business and communications. And I'm in this bitch having to pay to sit here. This ain't the right thing right now. And I just remember getting stressed out and just twiddling my thumbs in the back of class sometimes. Cause I'm like, fam, I could be doing this. I do this for my job for real. And I'm in this bitch just fucking listening to this lady rap and the dude rap to me about mad ish. And so I got lucky when one of the ladies at Sanity Solutions was going on maternity leave. And so I had an opportunity to step in and work full time. And I'd just gotten in trouble. I had gotten fired from Apple for bean scooping one of my coworkers. And I guess he got bullied as a kid. So he was like, bro, don't do that again. And I was like, my bad, dog. We was just joking and laughing and shit. He talks to management and then management is like, bro, he got bullied as a kid. You can't do that to him. And I was like, how the fuck was I going to know that? I didn't know that. I thought we was cool. We was homies. That's why I when we're joking around and shit and I just, bean scooped him just as a joke, but I didn't know my man's got bullied. How was I going to know that shit? So I get fired from Apple. I told Sheila I got fired from Apple. And then at least at face value, she didn't blink twice. She was like, that's okay. You work here, Gabby goes on maternity leave. I step in at accounting. Work accounting for a while. Then, when she comes back, I go to business development, working with Kimberly. When I tell you, when they say standing on business, think Kimberly. Cause she was just about business, She was cool. She was cool. She was actually super, super cool. She was like the big sister at work, low key. She was so cool. But she was about business, That was like, you could tell this girl had like a bit of an attitude. Her dad was a mechanic, so she wasn't a soft kid. Growing up, I don't think she was. And, so then I move out and, your boys, I knew I was going to do mushrooms, so I put the basement together and I start tripping because I honestly, finally, it was one of those situations where I had time to finally sit with my thoughts and actually think about everything that's happened in my life up to that point. And I just didn't know how to deal. I honestly didn't know how to deal with it. And so, that's when I start tripping mushrooms. I'm having this deep insecurity about the fact that I felt like most people have a core set of people that they connected with. And I connected with so many different people. I didn't know which connections to prioritize. I didn't know which relationships to keep, and I got into a big fight with Ellie. I didn't know how to deal with it. I shut down, which affected the rest of the time at the house, in my opinion, it did. And so I was just like, freaking hell, and I felt bad that I didn't know how to let it go. and that I was just hanging on to all this anger for no reason, and just being so stubborn that I refused to let it go. And she tried to apologize multiple times, and even when when I wanted to let it go, I was just so hurt. I was hurt. Like, and Ellie's just very special to me. Like, she's just a very, very special person to me. I don't even know if she realized how many times that, she came to my, like, there was a few times at school that she would like come to my defense. There were times where like Lynn would get on my ass and then she'd like come to my defense again, like, she's just, she's just very special to me. That's the only way I know how to put it, And I was so hurt when we got into that argument, and for whatever reason, I have my reasons for blowing up and shit, but it doesn't matter, I just needed to let it go once she apologized. And I didn't know how to let it go when she apologized to me. And, it's like, at some point, bro, it's like, fam, I fucking tried, bro. Like, you won't let it go, fam. I'm not gonna sit here and dwell on this shit. We over it, So, then I'm just in this deep well of sadness for and not knowing how to talk about it. I'm just hurt. And so, yeah, it was hard for me when I was by myself because I was just sad all the time, And I was just starting to spiral out of control, and I don't think anybody could have really stopped me, because who was I going to listen to? It was one of those where, when you're by yourself and, you're sad, it can be ego bruising, because all your frustrations, you can't take it out on anybody. And thinking that you can take it out on somebody isn't going to fix it, So then you're just left with you and your thoughts. And you just got to find a way to deal with that shit. And I just kept, I kept misbehaving, and I kept, just like throwing up prayers that somebody would like be able to help me get out of the funk that I was in. And I didn't really know how to express to anybody around me that I needed help. And it was just one of those where it was, outwardly I looked healthy, but internally, mentally, I wasn't very healthy, And it affected my job. It affected my relationship. It affected my friendships, because, they didn't know how to help me because I wasn't trying to help myself. And then, my relationship with Ashley goes straight to hell. I go to jail. I come out of jail. And now I'm here in a sober house. Yeah, we'll end it here for now.